my report is fairly quick. It's just an update on our school safety initiative that we've been implementing this year. Just a little background. Last year in July, when principals first came back, the first couple of days of contract, we trained all principals and several ESC administrators on a new school safety protocol. And we centered it around ALICE, which I'll get into what that acronym means later, but it was centered around the theory of, instead of our school being our school district practicing a lockdown-only philosophy, we went to a run, hide, fight philosophy. And we trained our principals in that. And that was over a year ago. And with their input, based on how they liked the training, we then formed a committee, and that committee was led by myself and Officer Unruh, former SRO Unruh, now she's at the college, and it was comprised of teachers, principals, law enforcement throughout the district. And what that committee was charged with was changing or helping to shape the language of our district-wide safety policy. And the board approved that last spring. And when the board approved that, then we were tasked with training staff on the run, hide, fight. And so that's what we've been doing this year. This year, to train all of our staff in this district is a large task. And we felt like with all that is happening in the national news, and we have this information on these new school safety guidelines, it was very difficult to sit on that. And so in order to train people efficiently, we invested in Alice's e-learning program, in which we were able to get a license for all the building principals. I believe all the school board members got a license, all the SROs, all of the ESC staff, and all administrators across the district were charged with training their certified and classified personnel in terms of the philosophy of run, hide, fight. So just what does it mean? What does it look like? But from the overarching video type e-learning series, we chose not to just give everyone the video because we wanted the dialogue and discussions. So most principals did those trainings with their staff during PLCs, and that way those conversations could be very building appropriate. As you know, our buildings look completely different. Escaping or evacuating from the high school where there's limited access to run or get out of the parking looks different than, say, Forest Good Middle School, just based on the proximity. So those discussions were very important. Now, staff coming to us throughout this year, because we hire all year, and that's classified and certified, we have enough licenses left over that they can get an individual one to view on their own. And any staff members who were absent were also given the link. We had people out on maternity leave and such, and so they got to view this on their own. Now, we are requiring our certified staff to go through some additional training. It's more simulation-like in nature. We've held 4 of those so far, one at Gertrude Walker, one at Jenny Parker, and then last Saturday we had 2 at Kenneth Henderson. So already we've trained about 142 staff members. This Friday the high school dismisses early, and so their staff, the staff that won't be participating in the math seminars and other things, will also go through the simulation training. Because we're requiring it for certified, we will also offer the trainings during district in-service days, January 29th and April 22nd. So they can take it early for release time or on district-wide days. Classified isn't required to attend these because we can't afford to pay them overtime and take them out of their jobs. And they happen to not work on those next 2 district in-service days. But for example, on the first training at Gertrude Walker, 44 certified staff attended, but 57 staff members were there overall. So there were 13 classified that chose to come because they valued that training. ALICE, just as a brief reminder, stands for 5 ways that you can react to a school crisis. That's alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. These don't have to be performed in any order, nor do all 5 have to be performed. These are just options that teachers have. They're empowered to do based on the nature of the crisis that's happening. So if shots are heard, I'm going to use the high school as an example because of my history there. If shots are heard, we would inform the staff to our best of ability as to where the harm might be, and that might empower some to evacuate if that's appropriate, to lock down if that's the safest thing to do. Counter is always the last resort, but we have found, or research has found, that by distracting an intruder, you have a good chance to evacuate. Just questions about where we are in the training. I know this is brief, but I just wanted to give you an update of where we have come since you approved the changes to the crisis plan last spring.
Not a question, but just I've heard from staff how beneficial they felt the role playing was, because you can think through it, but until you actually have to avoid the shooter, it elevates that awareness, I think, much more.
It does. We try to make it realistic but not dangerous, so to speak, but it really gets you to think, and pairing that training with law enforcement has been very beneficial because law enforcement thinks in a completely different way than we think sometimes. And that's good. That's good for them to see how we react and respond, and it's good for us to be thinking differently in a situation like that. The more we practice, the better. And today in the tornado drill that I was at Victor and Alice, those kids know what to do when a crisis hits, and we have to start putting those practices in place for crises that aren't necessarily related to natural disasters.
Have you started to do something different in this building? I noticed this side door is locked, and I always go through that door.
Correct, yeah.
Hail.
I need a special key.
Yeah. Well, we did the training in this building too, the e-learning module, because any place is at risk. You know, if you had a disgruntled employee, maybe with personnel, or with payroll, or the long-term expulsion hearings are held here, or boundaries become an issue. I mean, every place really is at risk for any kind of crisis. And so we did the training here, and it was already in play. A plan was in place to maybe make this safer. We've moved Rita to the front anyway to greet people, and so now she buzzes people in, guests in, and then employees are encouraged to use the side door. Their IDs work during regular business hours to get them in and out all day. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It seems so much more empowering. I mean, it's such a, I would assume it would be a very helpless situation to be in and situation, but to give our educators some power would go a long way, I would think.
We'll be offering those simulations, as I said, on the 29th, about every 90 minutes. We'll be running those. You're welcome to drop in that day. I'll have Joanne email you the schedule, but it is very good training. I had someone asked if they could go a second time on Saturday because they had thought of a lot of different questions after their initial training at Jimmy Parker. That's a good problem to have people want to learn more. So.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Which leads us to board open discussion.
I just had something to say. We celebrated Veterans Day last week, and which is awesome. But I just, you know, our veterans need to be celebrated every day of the year. So I think it's important that we put a spotlight on them during that day, but not to forget what our veterans have done for us all year long. And I am a huge fan of this Green Light a Vet program. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it's pretty neat. If you would just change one of your porch lights or outdoor lights to green, that way veterans who may be in uniform or out of uniform can see that you support them. I think it's a really neat program, and I would really like to see Garden City go green. So, anyway. 2 cents.
Well, and thank you, Jean.
Yes,
For your
there.
service. Anything else?
I did have a comment about the Alice training and the focus on security. I think that unfortunately, that's the way that we need to go. We need to make sure that first and foremost, before we can do any of these other things, that we have a safe place in which to be for the staff, for the students, and everyone who's in and around those buildings. So I really appreciate that we're doing that, and that the staff is so enthusiastic about learning all of these techniques, and I really pray that we never have to use them, but I'm really glad that we're doing these things, and we're prepared for whatever we need to do to keep our kids safe.
Anyone else? Well, along with, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna give you a little update. We had an eventful afternoon at Kindergarten City. We all know that the weather in southwest Kansas is a little unpredictable, but we did have a tornado warning here earlier, the 16th of November. And so I'm happy to report that all kids are home safe at this point. We did have kids on buses when that event occurred, and we took those kids to schools, the closest schools, where they could be in a safe storm shelter environment, and they remained there until the tornado warning had expired, and it was safe to transport them home. And as I said, they all are now home. We had some activities going on, and those were delayed, and the students and the spectators that were present went to shelters within the building. So we've caused a little delay in those kids and their families' evenings, but kids are certainly safe, and so are the patrons that are in our building. So we again tested another part of our crisis plan, and we've already kind of found a few things we'll probably adjust a little bit, but for the most part, it was a successful afternoon, but not an uneventful afternoon. And my understanding is, next on the forecast is snow for tomorrow.
Blizzard snow.
And then a 70-degree day on Wednesday.
Do you
So
have a
welcome to
preemptive
Southwest
notice for tomorrow?
Yeah, no preemptive word yet. Good try.
Well, one of the things that was recommended when we hired the new superintendent was to find one who would do more snow days.
Yeah. That's right, your waiter at Old Chicago. Yeah, that's right. Is there anything else you'd like to handle in your first year of superintendent?
No, it's going along really
Okay.
well. Checking off lots of
Yeah.
boxes.
Well, along with American Education Week, I believe tomorrow teachers should be looking forward to getting some notes from former students. And Wednesday, if you have not signed up, I don't know if it's made its way all around, the board will be delivering goodies to schools for the teachers to thank them for everything that they do. So if you have time Wednesday morning, if you can help by delivering some of the goodies, that would be great. And then Thursday, I know I keep harping on this, but it's the Crystal Apple. We get to finally find out who wins, so that'll be very exciting if you can make it. It starts at 6 o'clock and it's at the Clarion. Do we have a table for the board, or?
Yeah, if each of you could touch base with me before you leave tonight, so I can find out if you're attending, and I can kind of go over those details with you.
This is the 20th anniversary, and I know they have some pretty cool stuff planned out. And I know all of the former winners have been invited to come back to celebrate the 20th anniversary. So, unless there's anything else aside from the tornado watch thing that I just got until 9 o'clock, I'll go ahead and announce that the next meeting of the Board of Education will take place on Monday, December 7th, 2015, at 6 p.m. in the board meeting room here at the Education Support Center. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Moved by Jean, second. second? Second by Gloria, all in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Go home and be
Thank
safe,
you.
everyone.
Thank you